Haggadah, and I want to focus on the part that's called the Mah Nishtana, the classic four questions, the classic four questions. So, in the name of Rav Natronai Gaon, Rav Natronai Gaon was, one of the Gaonim who lived in like the 9th century, that he says that it's appropriate. And Jeff, this relates to some of what you were saying. I don't want to be explicit now because we're being recorded, but I want to say that he says that when you say the Mah Nishtana, you're supposed to translate it for everybody in the household so that everybody should understand. Just like we started the Seder with Halach Ma'anya. This is the bread of affliction, which was said in Aramaic, which was the vernacular of the time. The Mah Nishtana should be said in the language that people understand. The point of that is that you have to take the larger picture of what he's trying to say. That the Seder is not meant to be, the Daf Yomi, which only a select few can really have the patience for or try to access. The Seder is meant to be an opportunity to engage people who are distant, who are, trying to engage with people who are close, but also people who are distant at the same time. So we have to, even though normally we teach at a very insular manner, even if we do that normally, for the Seder, we have to go out of our way to try to engage as many people as possible. And so that's the concept here, that the Mah Nishtana, you have to make sure that you should translate it for people who don't understand. And that's a beautiful idea, I think. So if you have somebody from your Seder who's not Jewish, but who's a member of your family, or somebody who just doesn't relate to the Hebrew, I would say it goes even beyond the Mah Nishtana, and even beyond the translating it, is to try and take the opportunity of Mah Nishtana to engage them and ask them a question that will try to engage their interest in the Seder. So that's the concept here of the Mah Nishtana, to try and translate it, but really what it means is translating the Seder into a language that makes sense for people. And that's the concept. And in fact, the 14th century from Lunel work called the Orchos Chaim writes that it's actually also appropriate to translate the Halach Ma'anya, the Mah Nishtana, and even the next section, the Avadem Ayinu, because he writes, what's the benefit of asking a question if you won't know the answer? And the Avadim Ayinu is the answer to the Mah Nishtana. And so what's the benefit in having a dialogue which nobody understands, a give and take? So therefore we have to translate it. And that's such that's an important point. And now we go one step further. The Darkei Moshe, who is the Ramah, Rabbi Moshe Isserles, the preeminent 16th century, the preeminent 16th century commentary says, 16th century lawgiver, posek, he writes in the name of Marie Bruna that the Ri Milondri established that the whole Haggadah should be said in the vernacular. We don't find this in any place else. We don't find this about the prayers. He established that it should be done in the vernacular. What's the point of having this meal in a language people can't understand? He writes specifically that so that everybody was uneducated, the minors, and in those days, the women weren't educated, so that they should understand. The Ramah, Rabbi Moshe Isserles in 16th century, and in fact, the Yosef Ometz said everything in German. So you would say, okay, only do it make sure you do it in the language. But the Aruch HaShulchan, who was writing in the early 20th century in Lithuania, he writes, but nowadays there's a lot of printed Haggadahs in the English, and everybody can read it on their own. So therefore, you can still try to do it in the Hebrew. But anyway, the point is that the purpose. Hello, Colby, have a seat. Take a Haggadah. So proud of you. It's a heartbreaking loss for Berman today. Did you watch that? It was heartbreaking. They lost, but it's being recorded. But I want to say we watched the game and we were so close. This was the farthest we ever made it. The Berman actually had the ball with 2 seconds left, down by one, within 3 feet of the basket. And we, for some reason, the kid who had the ball, who's a great player, he's a great player. He could have shot it, but he thought his teammate would have a better chance. So he passed it to his teammate, and the teammate probably wasn't expecting his friend to be so unselfish. So he dropped the ball, and the ball went out of bounds, and that was the game. But I was so proud of them. Kobe. Oh, you thought it was a catchable pass? That kid was a great player. So you talked to Hassan? You really called him and told him that? He's probably devastated. You said it to Hassan? All right. I do think the other team was a great team, and you can't win them all. Somebody's got to lose the game. Somebody's got to lose. Okay. So anyway, I was very proud of these boys. So sweet. But anyway, you can't win everything. You know what? They're not going to grow up to be professional ball players anyway. They're going into banking. Let's be clear. What? No, but my nephew, who's now like 34, around 18 years ago, his Berman team played JDS and they beat them. And on the anniversary of that date, the whole team calls each other and talks about how that's the greatest day of their life. Okay, next idea. What's the reason why the Mah Nishtana is said as like a question and answer form? What's the reason? So the Hagon Rav Yerucham official Perla writes that the opinion of the Rosh is that the mitzvah of the Exodus from the Torah is really only fulfilled. How you doing? How you doing, Moshe? Come on in. Baruch Hashem. How you doing down here? Do you guys all have Haggadahs? Here, I have extra here. Yeah. So what's the reason why the Mah Nishtana has to be done with a question and answer? Let me ask you this question, Donnie. What's the reason why the Mah Nishtana has to be done with a question and answer? Why don't we just tell people for the kids to ask? But you're no kid. You're an old guy already. So what's the reason, Moshe? What's the reason why the Mah Nishtana has to be done in a question and answer? So do you have an answer? I'm asking a question. What's the reason? There's a mitzvah on the Seder night to tell the story. But the best way to tell the story is to ask people questions. So I'm asking you a question now and saying, why is that the best way to tell a story? Well, hold on. Why is the best way to tell the story of the Exodus by asking a question? Oh, Michael, well, amazing to see you. Yes. What? Exactly, Moshe. Exactly, Moshe. We want to make sure everybody's included. We don't want to have very good answer. We don't want somebody. We know that there will always be people who are going to be very engaged. We want to make sure that the people who might not be engaged also get engaged. Mordechai, were you going to say something?
I was just going to invite people's interest and attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
He said, in order to absorb information, you have to open up. The first step is to open up by asking a question. If you don't have a question, then you really don't absorb information.
Exactly. Exactly. In fact, the idea of asking a question, where is it found that you have to ask a question on Seder night? Where is it found? Where's the first source for it? Where do you think the first source is, Elon? First idea that you have to ask about the exit. It's not just like a lecture. Show up to the lecture. It says it in the Bible, Ki shalcha bincha, when your son will ask, and you say to your son, we were slaves. The idea also, this goes back to what we were saying before. What's the reason why we make sure to have a wise son, a wicked son, a simple son, one who doesn't know what to ask at the Seder? What's the reason? Why do we need the wicked son at the Seder? I'm going to tell you why. Let me hear from you why. That's true also, but that's true for sure. Yeah, Yoav, what were we going to say? Oh, beautiful. He gives us a different perspective. We don't always want the same perspective. That's a very good answer. I like that answer a lot. But I also want to tell us, it's to remind the parents, don't expect all your children to be the same. Don't expect all your children to be perfect. Don't expect everybody in the family to be, hitting grand slams. That's just not the way it works. It's just not the way it works. You want to be realistic. And this idea that not the children, the question of the wicked son, where he says, "Ma avodah zot lachem," what is this service for you? It's recorded in the Bible, and after they hear it, it says that the Bnei Israel, in the Midrash, it says that they bow down in gratitude. They have a wicked son, and they're bowing down in gratitude. It's to remind us that we have to have gratitude for what we have in response to the wicked son's question. That don't expect everything to be perfect. Don't expect all your children to be exactly like you, to follow the direction exactly like you did, to marry exactly the person you wanted them to marry, your dreams for perfection. Parents have to recognize this about their children. A lot of you guys here don't have children, but one day you will have children, God willing. And don't expect them to be exactly like you. In some of your cases, I would say thank God, but no, I'm just teasing you guys. You guys are beautiful. And your parents should not expect you to be exactly like them. But you know what they have to do? They have to be grateful for whatever Hashem has given them, no matter what. So it's a very important idea. The lesson is not that we have to include everyone. The lesson is we have to recognize that this is a typical family dynamic, that there are children who are rebelling against their parents. That's just a typical dynamic, and we have to have the ability that we recognize that one day they'll want to know the answers to these questions. So that's the idea. So it says in the wow, I have something really powerful to share here. It says, what do you got, Kobe? What do you got, my friend?
Remember, my knowledge has just been really bad since the spring. The pollen has kicked in, so some eye drops.
Oh, wait. Hold on 1 second. I just dropped something. My violin for you. I'm crying for you, Kobe. I'm crying for you, Kobe. No, 0. All I hear is whining. I'm just teasing, guys. I love Kobe. I'm just teasing him. All right. Let's start a go to Tehillim rally for Kobe's allergies. No. Ariel, if you're listening, and I know you are, I'm on your side. Okay, so it says before the Mah Nishtana, it says the 3-word phrase, Kana ben Shoel. Here the son shall ask. So what does it mean, Shoel? It means that here each one of everybody of the Jews can make a request from heaven for everything that he needs and accept upon himself tonight. So I want to suggest that before the Mah Nishtana, where it says, here is where the child asks a question, I want to suggest this is the moment where we are the Ben, we are the child, and we're supposed to be asking a question from God, but it's not a question, it's a request. And here is the moment where everybody should pause at the Seder and make a request. I want to encourage everybody to make a request for the hostages, for the widows, for the captives, to really take a moment and recite this prayer at this time. It'll be so beautiful. Okay, we'll stop the recording here, and so we can daven mincha at this time. What a beautiful opportunity. Okay.